Hey, what's up everyone? My name's Zach and you're watching ZVP Show. If you want to learn more about personal finance, how to build wealth through real estate, or how to be successful at your 9-to-5 job, you're at the right spot. Last week, the government passed a $2 trillion stimulus bill, which is absolutely insane. But what does that mean for you? Well, part of that bill was to try and get cash into the pockets of the American people who are affected by this economic downturn during this time. This is based off your 2018 tax returns and will give $1,200 to single filers who made $75,000 or less during that year, or $2,400 to couples who filed together and made less than $150,000. An additional $500 will be given per child within that household, and single filers who made over $99,000 or people who filed jointly and made over $198,000 won't receive a stimulus check. The IRS will be using information from your 2018 or 2019 tax filings to either direct deposit or send a check in the mail. To ensure that you get your money the fastest, be sure that you at least have your 2018 taxes completed and direct deposit set up. So here are some tips on what you should do with that $1,200 once you receive it. So first things first, make sure that all your essential expenses are covered. This should be for things like your rent or mortgage payment, so you have a place to stay. It's true that the federal government is postponing evictions for 2 months, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't pay your rent or mortgage. In fact, not paying your rent or mortgage will severely damage your credit score and you'll end up evicted anyways. Additionally, you'll also want to make sure that you can put food on the table, but buy only what you truly need for food and don't go out to eat. Next, you'll also want to make sure that your utilities are paid for, so you have water, gas, and electricity. I know a lot of the utility companies have promised not to turn off utilities during this time, but if you don't pay, you'll end up with a large bill at the end, and they'll end up turning off your utilities. Last, you also want to make sure that things like transportation costs and other random expenses are covered. Many states have a stay-at-home order in effect right now, so you shouldn't be out and driving anyways. And if you have federally backed student loans, you can postpone payments for up to 6 months without incurring interest, which is pretty nice. The second thing you'll want to do is smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It really does help out a lot, so please give this video a like. But in all reality, the next thing you'll want to do with that money is put some of it away for an emergency fund. In my last video, I talked about creating an emergency fund, so if you haven't seen it yet, be sure to go watch it. The link is below. An emergency fund should be able to cover 3 to 6 months of your essential expenses. The first thing you'll want to do when creating an emergency fund is go and calculate your monthly essential expenses. So this should be your rent or mortgage payment, groceries, transportation costs, utilities, or any other form of finance payments. Once you know how much you need for your monthly essential expenses, multiply that number by 3 at a minimum and 6 at best, and that's how much you need to have saved for your emergency fund. And the next thing you want to do is go and open up a high yield savings account so you can gain some money off interest from the money that you put away. And last, you'll want to continue to make monthly contributions until you reach the amount needed for your emergency fund. And don't touch it until you truly need it. If you're already able to cover your essential expenses and have an emergency fund established, the next thing you should do is use that $1,200 to pay off some debt. Right now would be a great time to use that $1,200 to pay down on any credit card debt that you might have, or pay ahead on student loans. With no interest being charged to federally backed student loans, everything that you pay right now will go directly towards the principal, which will end up saving you tremendously on what you pay in interest. And the fourth thing, which I have a really hard time suggesting this one, especially with how volatile the markets have been, but you can invest that $1,200. If you're close to retirement age, this probably isn't the best use of that $1,200 since the markets could continue to drop and that money would just evaporate. But if you're 15 years or more out from retirement, history's on your side. A study of the market returns from the S&P 500 over the past 100 years showed that if you bought and held for a period of 20 years, it never once produced a negative result. That doesn't mean that black swan events like what's occurring right now won't happen again in the future. There's always risk when investing, but chances are that you'll more than likely come out ahead. And the fifth and final thing that you can do is simply just spend it. And it makes me cringe a little bit just saying that because I'm not huge on spending large sums of money just frivolously, but it can actually be for good. If you're in a position where the first 4 things are relevant to you, congratulations, you're doing an amazing job, keep it up. But maybe you know somebody who just got laid off from their job because of this whole pandemic, or someone who needs a little extra help. It would make a world of difference if you use some of that $1,200 to help somebody in greater need out. Or you could use the money to personally better yourself. During this time, a lot of the gyms are shut down, so maybe you can go buy some weights. Or maybe it's a great time to sit down and read, so you can go and buy some new books. Hopefully this information is helpful to you, and if it is, give the video a like and subscribe to the channel. I release content every Tuesday and Saturday.